Hi, my name is Jake Gardner. I'm the owner and operator of Country Roads Moving, LLC, based in Fairmont, West Virginia. And I'm here to answer a couple key questions about myself and my business, how it operates, and kind of a quick insight to the moving industry within North Central West Virginia. We decided to start the moving company in 2017. Really, the quick version is I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I have a business degree from Shepherd University, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And this was something that I found that I could do nights and weekends, and eventually got to a point where it needed to be a full-blown LLC. So we started it in 2017. At the time, I had a truck and trailer that I was pulling after my 40-hour work week, and we really just saw a demand, frankly, of those in need in our area for some trusted, skilled laborers that could move items from one spot to another. So as I mentioned a moment ago, how long we've been in business since 2017. So we started the LLC that year. We had a truck and trailer. About a year later, we upgraded the trailer to a larger one, and then we blew an engine on a truck. So then we bought an upgraded truck. It was a Chevy Silverado. By 2020, I had our first box truck. By end of 2024, I had 5. So it's been a really exciting journey, full-blown business, really, in my mind, for the last 3 years. That's how long I've been a full-time entrepreneur outside of the actual LLC creation back in 2017. The volume of people that work for us changes depending on the season and who we can get, frankly, because as you might imagine, people, well, it's hard to hire people. It's hard to hire the right people. I guess it's really, the problem is it's easy to hire someone, hard to hire the right person is kind of the quick version. So any given time throughout the year, we're looking at probably anywhere between 10 and 15 people that we hire. 12 is a nice comfortable number, with the last 2 or 3 people on our roster list being part-time service. So busy season, full blown, anywhere between 12 and 13 people on average, excluding myself and my spouse, who's the owner and operator. So a quick reflection of how the business works, and really a kind of a rundown on the moving process. So a customer, the average customer is going to find our information online or from a referral or a friend, or some of our marketing materials that are out there, whether it be the billboards, the newspaper ads, online, Facebook, Google, what have you. They're going to cold call me. That number is going to go straight to my cell phone. I'm going to answer it, go through some logistics. Big questions are going to be, when did they want moved, starting and ending cities, square footage of the home they're moving out of now, and then a basic rundown of the inventory list. Once I have those kind of basic logistical questions answered, I can guide them in a certain direction and how much muscle and how much truck they need that day. So an example would be if they have a 2-bedroom apartment in Morgantown, going to Morgantown, we don't need their largest trucks. We don't need 2 or 3 of those. We don't need 4 or 5 guys. A 2-man crew with our 16-foot box truck would be suffice. It's all hourly rated, and it just depends on how many crews you have on site. The most common package is what's called the do-it-all package. It's, again, a fully inclusive hourly rated service. It's $150 per hour, and it buys you everything but tax at 7%. So we're talking mileage, gas, insurance, labor, equipment, moving blankets, straps, dolly, tools. We're going to white glove service that day, which means we're going to take it apart, all the furniture, pat and protect it, transport it over, reverse that process, and put it back together at the final address the way the customer wants it to be. So the areas of service depends. So probably the 95% of the time, we're truly within North Central West Virginia. So we're based in Fairmont. We do about 60% of our dollars out of Morgantown, and then probably another 20 or 30% is going to be Fairmont, Bridgeport, Clarksburg, and surrounding cities. So, Pleasant Valley, Whitehall, Westover, to name a few, Belmont. And then we service the whole state. So DOT requires you to have two different options. One's one state or all the states, and we've chosen to do one state here in West Virginia to focus on the customers that we know that need help, right? That we can service comfortably. So we'll go to Elkins, we'll go to Charleston, I'll go, southern than that, we'll go to the northern panhandle, the eastern panhandle, but the vast majority of the times, like I said, roughly 95% of the time, we're within an hour circle of Fairmont, West Virginia is the normal area of service for us. So packing is a recently added avenue for us. So we've had that for about 2 years, plus or minus. About half of our staff on average are going to be trained and prepped for the packing process. And what that truly means is that a customer is untouched their house in preparation for move day, and we come in and get it ready and stage ready. And then the beautiful part about that is that it does make the moving day itself simpler, because we're staging it how we would want it to be and how we're going to need it to be the next day. Big thing for that is when we come up in that house, normally move day and packing day is going to be separated to help kind of avoid long-winded days doing both at the same time. And most of our customers, when we first do that walkthrough, we're going to say, hey, the important things are what you don't want packed, forgive me, that day. So things like, personal property like documents or firearms or ammunition or cash, jewelry, medications in an overnight bag. Usually we get a certain section of the house or a certain dresser that we're not going to touch. And then really the customer says, what do you want us to do from there? So some customers like us to focus on the big parts. So like maybe the basement they're not utilizing, or an attic, or the kitchen, which is very time consuming, or everything. So it just kind of depends on what the customer wants, and it kind of refers back to our hourly rated structure. So if they want a little bit of help or a lot of bit of help, or they want to change their mind halfway through the day, they can do that. We would like to ebb and flow with the customer's needs. At the time, we don't have we don't have storage options. So we aspire to be in the storage world. We aren't at this moment. I'd like to see us have some storage units, both private and public storage, available in the near future, next year or two. But at this moment, we don't have anything like that. There's some circumstances that would change that. Would be if we're doing a moving job that has 2 days of service, so a larger job in square footage or inventory levels, like realistically that 3,000 to 5,000 square foot house. If there's a logistical moment that makes sense for us to load a truck, unload it, load it again, and then the next day we start with the unload, we would have that overnight with us, with a fee associated with that, to make that next day logistically smoother, right? And to avoid, you don't want to stop at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because you can't load and unload a truck in a timely manner. We want to make sure that the process is accommodated for the customer's needs, which would require sometimes having us storing the items. But overall, we don't have storage at this time. We have several facilities we recommend that we don't have any business connections with, but they're just good referral partners that we would trust and suggest to our customers utilize them, because it's a clean and a cost-effective, trustworthy environment for those places. So price-wise, I mentioned earlier, so we're an hourly rated service. Big ticket items is about 90% of the time it's going to be men on trucks. We do offer labor-only services, and we do offer, as I mentioned, household packing services. So a 2-man crew with a 16-foot box truck, which is going to hold roughly 800 square feet of the average house, that's going to be $150 per hour, and it's all inclusive. So we include mileage and gas and insurance and labor and equipment, moving blankets, straps, dolly, tools, the whole 9 yards. If you wanted more muscle for the day, if you have a larger inventory list or some tough pieces, you can add a 3rd man to that. It's the same pricing point as far as what's inclusive, except it's $200 per hour for a 3-man and $150 for a 2-man team. So what I always say for my customers is that it's going to be a very comparable pricing point either way. It just depends on how long you want us to be there. Now, all of our service packages that we have do have a 3-hour minimum. Some companies do half or full day minimums. We do a 3-hour minimum to make it make sense for our crews to come out there. So for instance, we can't come out there and do a half-hour worth of work and send my guys home thinking everybody to be happy, because it is their livelihoods as well that we have to consider. And then the 16-foot truck is inclusive in that pricing point. If you wanted a beefier truck, we offer a truck that has capacity for 1,200 square feet. It's a 20-foot box truck. So we currently have 4 different box trucks available, 2 16s and 2 20-footers. The upgraded truck size is a one-time flat fee for the day of $100 because it's going to have plus or minus 50% more capacity within that truck. And one of those 2 trucks is actually a liftgate too, which can sometimes be a better option depending on what the customer's items are. So if they have a piano or some heavy duty equipment or marble topped dressers or appliances, that does come in handy with that, and we sometimes guide customers in that direction. So notice as far as availability. So for us, we have right this second, being in the tail end of February, we have, I think it's 11 staff members as of last week, excluding myself. We work 7 days a week. The norm of availability is 4 of those trucks are out the door Monday through Friday. So there's 20 trucks plus 2 or 3 truckloads available, or crews available Saturday and Sundays. We're looking at, on average right now, anywhere between 20 and 25 moving jobs that we have. Availability wise, the quick answer to a long story is call me when the customer's ready, right? So I may have availability tomorrow morning. I may have availability in not from a month from now. The norm, the comfort level that I suggest for customers is a 2-week notice. So if you give me 2 weeks, you can usually cherry pick what day of the week makes sense for you and your family and kind of go from there. So there's several moving companies in our area, and I've joked with friends and colleagues in the past that our big thing is that we pick stuff up and put it down, right? It's easy to accomplish in a one-off scenario. It's really hard to accomplish in a bigger scale, and that's what we focus on, is to try to match up those 2 moments between large conglomerate or a corporation company, big brokers, online sales reps, to the down the street guy that has a truck that wants to help you out, right? So somewhere between those 2 moments for us, we really strive on being able to have that quality and personal touch for direct ownership being involved in our staffing. So we drug test our guys, we do background checks, we do job site training, and we spot check our guys as we go too. So the big thing for us is quality over quantity.